Buongiorno a tutti, mi chiamo Charlotte e oggi parliamo della motivazione per la terza volta. Okay? So, hi everyone, my name is Charlotte and today for the third time we'll be talking about the subject of motivation, la motivazione, specifically perché alcuni obiettivi ci motivano e altri no. So, why do some goals or objectives motivate us and others don't? So that's the title of the little excerpt. So I've taken that from the website. Let me tell you the website. adactaconsulting.it, so .it. So that's an Italian language website, and it's ho scritto qua. Scusa lo stomaco che suona. Ho scritto qua il titolo che ho trovato su questo sito web, su questa pagina web, e si chiama perché, why do some obiettivi, objectives, goals, aims ci motivano, motivate us davvero, so that means like really motivate us or truly motivate us, e altri no, and others don't, or others no, okay, others don't. So in that question we don't have a word that translates into English from Italian as do. Okay, so in a lot of Italian questions, well, in a lot of English questions we have the verb to do. Why does it? Why do they? That kind of thing. So when that accompanies a question word like why or how do, etc. So often you would translate into English and add that word in somewhere where it doesn't necessarily exist, like it doesn't have an equivalent in Italian. So if you have that verb to do in a question word, in a question in English, a question in its entirety, it's just sort of like a marker. Okay, why do, how do, etc. So let's have a look. What I've done here and what my club members will receive, they'll receive a handout like this via email and also a link to this video and to some further reading on the subject. What you'll see is that I have highlighted in an excerpt of text from this website, adactaconsulting.it, underneath this title, basically a paragraph or two short paragraphs, depending on how it appears on your browser, and it starts here. It's very simple, but I like to use real language, so sometimes I create the content of the language club video, sometimes I go online and I find something, I might adapt it, highlight it, shorten it, etc. Here I've just taken it, put it on the document. I've underlined, oh no, sorry I haven't, here I've underlined the verbs, but on the document I've sent out, or I'm sending out to my students, all the verbs, whether they're conjugated in their infinitives, no matter what tense they're in, verbs are in red text, and then the nouns I've put in bold black. So sometimes I highlight verbs, quite often I highlight verbs, sometimes I specifically look at adjectives, and sometimes I look at another part of speech like nouns, so I'll be pointing those out as I go through. Let's read it out to start with. So, perché alcuni obiettivi ci motivano davvero e altri no. Sappiamo che non tutti gli obiettivi stimolano la nostra volontà ed energia, ma solo quelli a cui colleghiamo la soddisfazione dei nostri bisogni e delle nostre attese. No, you probably can't see that last bit. I just moved the bin from under my desk, which is completely full. Lasciamo per terra e ecco il resto. Let's see the rest of this text now. So, maybe zoom in a little bit. Perché, that's why. Alcuni is the plural of alcune, which is some. Obiettivi, goals, aims, objectives. Ci motivano, motivate us. So motivare is the verb to motivate, and the ci bit, which precedes it there, is us. That's the direct object. And in Italian, that us bit, instead of being motivate us, it's us motivate. So it comes before the verb. Davvero, like I said, double V there, that is linked to the word vero, which means true or real. E altri no, and others no. So this ci motivano, alcuni obiettivi ci motivano. That is what is being referred back to here when it says altri no. So other objectives. No means does not or do not motivate us. Sappiamo che, we know that. So I've already done a few attempts at recording this video, so that's why I've got some bits underlined or with writing. Sappiamo comes from the verb sapere, which means to know, and that's one of two verbs which can mean to know in Italian. There's conoscere, which is more to like to know a person or be familiar with a person, specifically a person, or maybe the music of a certain group. So it kind of means to be familiar with something or someone. But sapere is a useful one. It's hard to explain the difference. I think I have done a video on it. Look back through my playlists. But some useful things to note about sapere is you can conjugate it and follow it with an infinitive. For example, so, that means I know. So guidare, I know how to drive. So cantare, so suonare la chitarra. I know how to sing, I know how to drive, I know how to play guitar. If you or someone knows how to do something in English, you can just conjugate the verb depending on the subject that it agrees with, whoever knows the thing, and then how to do a thing. And then you follow that conjugated sapere verb with an infinitive. To drive, to sing, to ski, sail a boat, whatever it is, okay? So that's useful. Sapere can also be followed by like a conjunction like che, I know that, or we know that in this instance. And it can be followed by a question word. So io so quando è partita Maria. I know when Maria left. Io so a che ora cominciamo. Non so dove si trova la fermata dell'autobus. Okay, so you can use it in the positive and the negative, or the affirmative and the negative, with a question word to ask. For example, you could say, Maria, sai a che ora parte il treno? Excuse me, Maria, do you know when? Sai quando parte? Sai a che ora parte? Do you know at what time or when the train leaves? So it's a useful verb, okay? Sapere, it's very irregular. But this is the noi form. We know, sappiamo che non tutti gli obiettivi stimolano la nostra volontà ed energia. So we know that non tutti, not all, gli obiettivi, I keep saying objective, because that's the English. Objectif is also the French, but obiettivi, so it's an IE after that B there, see? Obiettivi. Stimolano. Stimolare is to stimulate. So that could be physically to stimulate or to bring about something. La nostra volontà. La nostra, so la and volontà, that is a feminine noun and it's our will, or the will. But when you have nostra, which is the possessive, or is it an adjective? Yes, because it's describing it is ours, but possessive adjective, it belongs to us. So it's a way of describing something, hence adjective. Possessive means a sense of belonging or possession. So la nostra volontà, you have the article, feminine, singular la. Nostra is the feminine singular form of nostro. Volontà is a feminine singular noun. That little A with the circumflex at the end, volontà, is like kind of p, plosive. I can't remember the words for it, but volontà. You put a lot of effort into that last. You put emphasis on that, basically. Ed energia. So we know that not all objectives or goals, let's say goals, stimulate our will and energy. Energia, energy. What did I want to mention there? Gli obiettivi. Gli is a G-L-I instead of E, like just an I, because this is a masculine noun. Un obiettivo becomes l'obiettivo, shell apostrophe with an O at the end, becomes gli in the plural when it ends with an I, and that's because it's a masculine noun that starts with a vowel. Okay, right. Stimolare agrees with the objectives, ma solo quelli a cui colleghiamo la soddisfazione dei nostri bisogni. Oh, this is a long sentence, isn't it? So we know that not all goals, objectives, stimulate our will and energy. Ma solo quelli, but only, solo, quelli. Quelli means those, and it's in the masculine plural form. There's a couple of forms there, but we're not going to go into that now. Quello, quella, quelli, quelle, some of them. A cui colleghiamo la soddisfazione dei nostri bisogni. So, right, so not all objectives stimulate our will and energy, but only those to which, a cui is like saying to which. Colleghiamo, that means to connect or relate. Collegare is to like almost glue something together, to bring things together. Connect or relate. But only those to which we connect or relate. La soddisfazione, well, that's the satisfaction. Dei nostri bisogni, so the satisfaction of our needs. Dei means of the, that's di plus e, which becomes dei. Then we've got a similar possessive adjective here to nostra, la nostra. That's the singular feminine our, followed by volontà. But here we've got nostri bisogni. Let's go out a little bit. Go down. The nostri bisogni. Nostri bisogni. Our needs. So un bisogno is a need. I bisogni, needs. So we're only going to only the goals that stimulate our, only the goals that satisfy our needs are the ones that will give our will and energy to, more or less. So let's have a look. We didn't quite finish that, did we? So sappiamo che non tutti gli obiettivi stimolano la nostra volontà ed energia. We know that not all objectives or goals stimulate our will and energy, ma solo quelli a cui colleghiamo, but only those to which we relate or link. Link. La soddisfazione dei nostri bisogni, only those to which we relate or link the satisfaction of our needs, e delle nostre attese. Un'attesa. So un'attesa could be a wait, as in the fact of waiting, the duration of a wait, but it can also mean like an expectation. So if you satisfy your expectations, or if your expectations and needs can be satisfied by a certain goal, then you'll put your energy and your time and your will towards it, won't you? But if it doesn't satisfy your needs or your goals, you might not be so keen on doing it. So, the verbs here we have sapere, which is to know, stimolare, which is to stimulate, to bring about, collegare, which could be to link, to relate, or to connect, right? Bringing two things together. And then we also have, that's all we have on there actually. Oh no, we've got motivare, motivare, to motivate. Right, now that all might seem quite obvious, but remember we're looking at the language here. The theme of motivation is just a way of me grouping together some resources that we look at, the language content, and it's also where it relates to stuff going on in my life as well, so it's nice to look at something that interests me. But the language is available online, it's been written in Italian, and it's there for anyone to go and see. So yeah, really we're looking at the actual language itself and the structures and the parts of speech as opposed to kind of the meaning behind it. But perhaps what we're discussing is pertinent to you, or you've been thinking about la motivazione recently. So whatever it is, I hope this video is useful. Let's go up because we haven't got the top of this text. Ah, sì. Ho tagliato qui. Okay, so this is the last paragraph. Frase, okay? The last sentence. Soltanto quando vediamo un obiettivo come il mezzo per soddisfare i nostri bisogni, we had that before, e le nostre aspettative, siamo disponibili a mettere tutta l'energia necessaria per raggiungerlo. I like this. There's some nice words here. So soltanto means only or just. It is only when. Soltanto, that's an adverb, I think. Describes when something, how something will happen. Yes. Soltanto, it's a bit like solo or solamente. Soltanto quando, question word, when. Vediamo, that's the present tense of vedere, to see. When we see un obiettivo, a goal, right? You should know by now what that means, a goal or an aim or an objective, something we're reaching towards and aiming for. Come il mezzo. Come can mean like or as, or it can mean how. Sometimes come stai? Come state voi? But it can also mean like or as. So here I'd say as. Only when we see a goal as, like or as. Il mezzo. Mezzo is like the way of doing something, the means of doing something. It can also be the middle, so it's linked to the means, the median. In other languages, the word for the way to do something, the means of doing something, and the word to do with the middle, they're often the same word. It's only when we see an objective or a goal as the means for, or the means to satisfy, the means for satisfying. In English, we'd probably say the means for doing something. So a car is a means for travelling to somewhere, or a means of getting somewhere. So we've got a few different prepositions that we use, but here in Italian they use per soddisfare, nice verb there, to satisfy. When you conjugate that verb, you'll see that you've got the verb fare in the second part of it. So just conjugate it like the verb fare, but put this prefix, if you like, the bit that comes before it in its stem in it. Okay, soddisfaccio, per esempio, soddisfai. There's also a couple of alternatives there, so have a look at that verb if you're interested in how to use it. Okay, but here in its infinitive form, it's to satisfy. Right, so it's only when we see an objective or goal as the means for satisfying I nostri bisogni, our needs, I nostri, our, something plural, masculine, bisogni is the plural of un bisogno, e le nostre aspettative. Now, what is the difference between aspettative, which is linked to the verb aspettare, to wait, and attese? Because I'm not sure. I basically mean, I think it means expectations, but we've got a repetition, or an almost repetition there. Attese, aspettative, aspettativa. Let's see if there's a difference. Anticipations, expectation. Okay, let me just put in attesa. Expectations. Okay, so Un'aspettativa is like this. This is in the plural here. Le nostre aspettative. Le aspettative, and then nostra is like nostri, but it's plural feminine, right? So aspettativa in the singular can mean an expectation, whereas un'attesa can also mean expectation, but it has an additional meaning of the wait, right? Okay, so the process of waiting, the duration of the wait, like a wait in line, or the anticipation. Okay, so the noun, it's kind of, I think it's got a slightly different, like maybe it's more to do with un'attesa is the process and duration of expecting and anticipating something, whereas if you're Italian, let me know what you think about this. Aspettative also means expectation, but is something that you're anticipating, something that you hope will happen, or that you want to happen, okay? Your standards, maybe. Soltanto quando vediamo un obiettivo come il mezzo, double Z in there, like in pizza, okay? It's not mezzo, it's mezzo, double Z. Sounds like a T and an S. Right. Per soddisfare I nostri bisogni e le nostre aspettative, only when we see a goal as being a way to satisfy our needs and expectations, only then siamo disponibili. Siamo means we are. Disponibili, that's the plural adjective of disponibile, which normally has an E on the end in the singular, and can be used to describe a person or a place or any. It could be used for a masculine or feminine adjective with an E at the end, but in the plural it's always got an I. So we can only do this when we are available. A mettere tutta l'energia, to put all our energy, tutta l'energia, tutta l'energia, all of something. Instead of saying tutto l'energia, tutto changes depending on when it means all of something, and then you put whatever the thing is afterwards. Because l'energia is a feminine singular noun, tutto changes to tutta. Okay? Otherwise, tutto can mean all or everything. But if it's all the energy, it's tutta l'energia. Tutte le donne, all ladies, etc. Okay? That's a lesson in itself too. So only when we're able to put, or we're available, disponibili, we are available. A mettere, to put, mettere is to put, right, or to place, all our energy, or all the energy necessary. Tutta l'energia necessaria, right, so necessaria refers back to energia, and tutta agrees with energia, so you've got agreements here all over the shop. Per raggiungerlo. Now, raggiungere is to reach something, to attain something, right? To get it, as in to get to the point that something's happened that you want. So I would say to reach it, to put, or not just to reach, maybe to realize it. So raggiungere is the verb, and I'm going to look at a few of the translations. To reach, to arrive at, yeah, to catch up with, yeah, to reach, to achieve, that's a good one, to achieve. So if you're talking about goals in English, targets, aims, objectives, you can achieve a goal, you can achieve an objective, okay? You can also reach a target, reach a goal. Reach is a little bit more physical, but it does mean to attain. There's lots of different verbs actually, but raggiungere is a useful one. Now that verb raggiungere is in its infinitive form, but we're missing the final E, and that's because it's got this lo. That is a direct object pronoun. It means it, and it's referring back to something that's already been mentioned. So let's see what it is in this text. Yeah, I think it's un obiettivo. Let's see. Soltanto quando vediamo un obiettivo come il mezzo per soddisfare i nostri bisogni e le nostre aspettative, siamo disponibili a mettere tutta l'energia necessaria per raggiungerlo. Yes, okay. So actually I think that the lo here, it, to reach it, is this whole bit here. Un obiettivo come il mezzo per soddisfare i nostri bisogni e le nostre aspettative. Right, so that's quite a specific. It is referring to un obiettivo, but there's also more information which is linked to the obiettivo to make it specifically worth reaching and attaining and trying to achieve. So there you go. So on this page, the verbs that we have, where's my printout? The verbs that we have are vediamo from vedere, soddisfare in the infinitive form, mettere also in the infinitive form, and raggiungere, so that's an ERE verb. But when you're saying to reach it, so there's two things that could have happened here. You could have had per, no. What's happened here, because we've got per in front of an infinitive verb, it's like just up here. Per precedes an infinitive form, way of satisfying our needs, necessary to reach it. So interestingly, we've got two infinitive verbs there preceded by the preposition per. Per is used to describe the way another action is going to be achieved, or the purpose for it. So to reach to meet our needs and objectives, to meet our needs and expectations, we need to see an object as a means to satisfy said needs and expectations. And necessario per raggiungerlo. I mean, the point I was trying to make is not that per precedes certain verbs when it is used in order to achieve or do something. I just wanted to point out that this infinitive verb has a lot at the end, and you can attach a direct object onto an infinitive verb at the end to reach it. Vederci, to see us, to see each other. Anyway, ho lasciato aperta la finestra, scusa, ci sono uccellini. Uccelli, non uccellini. Sorry about that noise out there, I forgot to shut the window. Anyway, so we've got lots of nice verbs in there which link up to this idea of motivation. To reach, to attain, to satisfy, to see, to put. Mettere l'energia, put energy into something. Nice thing about vedere is it can be used not just literally, vedo qualcosa, but also figuratively, to envision or to identify an objective, to recognize an objective as being something else. Okay, so that's like a mental seeing, okay, as opposed to literally seeing something. Sapere, so you've got to know about what you want, right? I'm just thinking of the verbs that are linked to motivation. Motivare, can't get closer to motivation than that, but it can be motivare. That's where the noun la motivazione comes from. When you've got nouns that have this azione at the end, they're feminine. Okay, they're normally a la noun, unless they start with a vowel, in which case it'll be L apostrophe at the top, and you pronounce it as if, it's one word in that case. Colleghiamo, so collegare. Let's just have a look at, I said that was to relate or to link or to connect things together. Collegare. So let's just see if there's any other translations for that which might be useful. I'm just looking on my trusty word reference here. Connect, relate. In the reflexive form, collegarsi can mean to log on to something, like to connect to something online. Relate, connect. Let's have a look at legare. Maybe that's to link more. Tie together, link, connect. Oh, it doesn't say link, it says tie, tether, fasten. Legare, let's put in link. Inglese. Sì, collegare, okay. Sometimes when you put the English word in from Inglese, Italiano, you get different results than when you put one of the Italian translations in and sort of go Italiano, Inglese. Anyway, it's always worth doing that. Use word reference, use other trustworthy online resources to check the meaning of something. But the good thing about word reference is you've got a free app. I have my phone, I can show you. Eccolo. I use it all the time for loads of different things. Here's the word reference app. Let's put it on Italiano, scusa. Italiano, Inglese. Okay, let's look for, say, link. Collegare, unire, connettere, attaccare, agganciare. Okay, so we've got a few different. Let's see if you can see that on my monitor. Okay, it's probably not focusing too well there. Hey, that's not focusing great, is it? Anyway, but if I go on to, say, collegare and go back, if you can see that it doesn't say link to link anywhere. So I thought that was quite interesting. Ok, basta così. Ho parlato abbastanza. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that's proven useful, and will probably change the theme for next month's video, although I have enjoyed looking into la motivazione because it is something which I'm thinking about all the time in my life. Perché io vediamo, aspetta. Per me è molto importante che metto tutta la mia energia per raggiungere i miei propri bisogni e le mie proprie aspettative. So what I said there, it's very important for me to put all of my energy into reaching my, or to obtaining, or to achieving my needs and my expectations. So, grazie mille e alla prossima volta. Ciao!